Let's bring out my Avengers shirt for this review. Avengers, assemble! The Avengers, or Avengers Assemble, depending on where you live, but I like The Avengers better, is directed by Josh Whedon and is the 5th installment in the MCU overall, as well as the big finale to Phase 1 of the MCU. So The Avengers tells a story after 5 freaking movies of build-up. The Great Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, The Awful Iron Man 2, The Decent 4, and The Okay Captain America First Avenger. Loki, Thor's brother, he has found his way to 21st century Earth, New York, and he is plotting on obtaining the glowing cube known as the Tesseract to open a portal that will bring a vast army of aliens called the Chitauri to Earth to obliterate the people of Earth. But not if S.H.I.E.L.D. and a certain superhero team can help it. So the Avengers themselves, Earth's mightiest heroes, must assemble to simply kick Loki's ass. And Marvel fans finally get to see the movie they've been waiting for, that Marvel have been building up for like ever. Now, once The Avengers was released back in May 2012, Josh Whedon and Marvel did the impossible with this movie. They went ahead and made the first official superhero team-up movie in history, where superheroes, Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Thor, and Hulk get to interact alongside, and it's awesome. The Avengers wasn't just the movie event of 2012. It wasn't just the 3rd highest grossing movie of all time at the time. Back then, it was the movie everybody was talking about. It felt like the movie event of the millennium, more like. It was the biggest movie ever. Literally, I saw Avengers on every top 10 list for this movie, and whenever anybody mentions movies from 2012, the first thing that pops into their head is The Avengers, and this movie broke countless box office records that Marvel are literally swimming in the $1.5 billion this movie grossed worldwide, and grossed approximately $600 million in the US and Canada alone. Take that in. Yet, this movie put Marvel on top of the world, and there was no movie Marvel couldn't do after this movie. Even though Black Panther's now the better movie, The Avengers is still a close second on my list. This movie is a true crowd pleaser. It's so epic, and I still love it 6 years later. As for my positives, whoa, how do I cover all of the awesomeness of this superhero epic? While this movie picks a story that isn't exactly anything groundbreaking, just the standard hero wants power and wants to rule the world, and a superhero team must join forces to protect the Earth from this villain. That storyline couldn't work any better in this kind of movie. It works flawlessly in Justice League, and it works perfectly here. So if Justice League can get away with having that plot and still be fun, so can Avengers. This movie isn't copying Dark Knight or anything like that. It's its own thing. It's knows when to have fun, and it's evident that Josh Whedon and the entire cast and Disney and Marvel just just how passionate they were about this movie. And as for Earth's mightiest heroes themselves, not only do we have the four reprising their roles from their solo movies, but we also have the two from Iron Man 2, as well as a newbie, Hawkeye. And I love that this movie doesn't rush them to become friends. The movie takes the time to ensure that these heroes get along, despite their opposite ideas on how to defend the Earth. That's what makes them feel like real individual heroes. They have their own ways of defending the Earth, but by the end of the movie, they realize just quit bitching. It's going to achieve nothing. Earth has to come first, and even Nick Fury and the Shield characters are somewhat memorable, as not all of them are certain that the Avengers team idea is going to work out in the first place. Some of them are like, is the Avengers really going to pay off? I mean, these heroes, they're going to destroy each other, but Nick Fury is willing to give them a chance, and he's right. Nick Fury and Black Widow didn't need to be in Iron Man 2. This movie should have been their introduction. They are total badasses in this movie, and I eagerly anticipate Black Widow's first solo movie. It is been too long that she has gone without her time to kick some butt in her own journey. And Loki here, if you thought he was the greatest MCU villain in 4, just you wait. In the Avengers, he makes my top 3 MCU villains. He's just one of those villains, although he's a dick, that you just love. They up to how sinister he is in this movie, like when he's been captured by S.H.I.E.L.D. and he's intimidating Nick Fury, when he's like, how desperate are you that you call on such lost creatures to defend you? Oh man, you gotta love Tom Hiddleston's acting there. I just like Tom Hiddleston playing villains. And Hawkeye, the one Avenger who never appeared in the MCU until this movie. After Hawkeye has been mind controlled, not only is that interesting to see one of the heroes actually work for the antagonist, but once he snaps out of it, he feels an extreme wave of guilt and is willing to make up for it. And action-wise, this movie has it all. You could just grab the biggest bag of popcorn ever to enjoy the action in this movie. We actually get the fights that MCU fans have dreamed of. We get to see Iron Man 4 and Captain America have a showdown in the forest, not to mention a brawl between Thor and Hulk on the S.H.I.E.L.D. Hellcarrier, and the Battle of New York especially. The Battle of New York is astonishing. The moment that the Avengers are finally officially assemble, and you're just like staring in awe, and you're like, Avengers, fuck yeah! I can imagine every Marvel fan in existence in that moment just cheering and applauding this movie at that moment. That was the moment when you're like, okay, now it's a great movie. And the Avengers theme in the soundtrack gets me extra pumped and makes me crave the soundtrack when it's like dun 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 dun. As to be expected, there are plenty of classic one-liners in the Avengers, the best being puny God, when the Thor just thrashes Loki in literally 5 seconds. And when the crowds of New York are literally cheering, "Thank you, Avengers," I was literally cheering and holding up the sign, "Thank you, Josh Whedon. You did it." As to address the rivalry between Avengers and the other biggest superhero movie of all time, The Dark Knight Rises, I'm like, do we really need this rivalry between DC and Marvel over which movie is superior? No, can't we just have pizza and ice cream together? Can't we just have both? I mean, if you like the Avengers better, that's awesome. If you like Dark Knight Rises better, that's awesome. While Avengers may not be as epic as Dark Knight Rises, it's the more fun of the two. And there are some classic quotes in this movie. For example, "I have an army. We have a Hulk. Even if we can't protect the Earth, you can be damn well sure we'll avenge it." Now, those quotes just show how the Avengers are the heroes we deserve. And as for negatives, I suppose I could nitpick the lack of Hulk. Hulk doesn't actually do anything until the third act, and how dispensable the Chitauri are as villains. But I can forgive that, since without an army for the Avengers to face, you just have 6 heroes punching one bad dude. So the Avengers, folks, is the first perfect movie in the MCU. Age of Ultron, not so much, but the original Avengers is still a classic. Is it one of the greatest comic book movies ever made? Hell yeah! Even if Justice League is better, sorry Marvel fans.
I give the Avengers 5 stars out of 5. Best movie ever.
Age of Ultron may have failed to top this one commercially and in quality, but we'll see if Infinity War can. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And what do you think of the Avengers, and which do you like better, Avengers or Justice League? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter and on Google Plus and on Instagram. And I'll see you all next time when I review Iron Man 3, the conclusion.